August, so Wade's coming back as just temporary.
Oh, you don't plan on what? 6 o'clock. How about that? All right. It is, I don't know what date it is. Where's my number? Tuesday, January 14th at 6 p.m. This is the Planning Commission meeting for the City of Ocean Springs. Call this meeting to order. Here's all commissioners are present except for Joey. If you can, I ask you please rise. I'll say a quick prayer for us, and I'll ask, who am I picking on? Nick, to lead us in the pledge today. God, we thank you again, as we always do, that we get to live in this city. Help guide us to make good decisions for the best of this city. Help us all to just really appreciate what we have here. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank y'all all. If you have phones, put them on silent, please. Let's try to keep some of the dinging to a minimum. We do have a second amended agenda, as was released not too terribly long ago. As everybody noted, that we have a few items being deferred and removed. And if so, do I have a motion to accept the second amended agenda? Motion by Matthew, second by Joe. Will, before I call for a vote, do you have anything to add or want to speak to?
Sure. I'm sure y'all saw the first amended agenda removed the comp plan yesterday for discussion, and then today the second amended agenda removed item 4C on the 66-unit condominium complex. Obviously, there's been some concerns about the Waterview district, so I, along with the planning department, are reviewing that further, and I've discussed it with the applicant's agent, who agreed to remove the application for now. And to the extent that comes back before y'all, will renotice and advertise as according to UDC. So that's that.
Okay, any questions for motion man? Good? Mm-hmm. All right, do I have a motion to accept the amended agenda? I'm sorry, we already have one. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. So we are on the new amended agenda. Item 2, approval of minutes. I'll tell you what, let me backtrack and do one more little housekeeping. We have received, some of the planning commissioners, I believe it's up to 15, somewhere around 14 or 15 emails. I think y'all should have a packet. If not, here's a copy of them. Generally speaking, I will paraphrase, but most of them are against a couple of the items that were not on the agenda. However, in transparency interest, I would ask that we entertain a motion to accept these into the minutes tonight. Does anybody
So moved.
Motion by Joe, second by? Second by Marshall, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, so those will be in the minutes. I would encourage anybody, since it's not being heard today, if y'all want to re-email whenever those are being heard, please do. Please address those to the planning department instead of the planning commissioners next time, and they will make sure that it gets in our packets and that we all get a copy of it. Good? Everybody on the same page? All right. Approval of minutes. 2A, December 10th meeting. Has everybody reviewed? Any questions, comments, concerns?
Motion to accept.
Motion Kevin, second Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No old business, so we'll dive right into new business. Item 4A is approval of lot split for 209 Dewey Avenue, parcel ID 601-374-74000. Donovan Scruggs as agent on a lot zoned R1. The applicant has asked for a variance to the lot width that will be heard on ZAB on January 14, 2025 at 5 p.m., which I understand ZAB did review and recommended approval for that variance.
As requested.
All right, everybody say hi, Wade. Welcome back. So who is Wade? Are you telling us a little bit about this one, or is that a...
I'll give you just a brief rundown. Like we said, basically, this is a lot split to create 2 lots on Dewey Avenue. There are 2 existing dwellings on the property. One is an accessory structure located on the north side, a 500 square foot house. The other more is the principal structure on the southern part of it. As mentioned earlier, it was contingent on variances for the lot widths. So that was recommended for approval by the zoning board just earlier. One lot can be 85 feet, the northern lot. The southern lot with the principal house is permitted for the variance of 95 feet. And like I said, that it's coming to you now to create 2 lots, kind of consistent with that variance request. Donald Scruggs will go into more detail about the actual provisions of it. But it is generally consistent with the wide variety of lots and parcels within this area. So, and if you have questions for me or any of us on the staff, we're glad to answer them.
Anybody have anything before we go to the applicant? Once, twice. I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay. Donovan, I'm gonna guess you have something to say? Name and address, please.
My name is Donovan Scruggs. I'm at 317 Pine Drive, in Ocean Springs. Is this mic, is this working? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I don't know about the YouTube. Are we good? Okay.
All right. As mentioned by Wade, we did receive 2 variances, or a variance for this development at the ZAB meeting earlier. A little background on the property. Billy lived on this property, and I think he's had it since about 70 years. He's a big part of the community. He made a lot of signs we see all throughout our downtown. She passed away. She left the property with her son. They are trying to find an agreeable way to divide the property and keep it within the family. 2 of the sons are here tonight. And basically one son will own 2/3 of it, one son will own 1/3 of it. So we were trying to get a split so that they could each do some improvements on the property. But the properties that exist are not conforming. First of all, in a R1 district, you're not allowed to have 2 residential properties on one lot. So by doing the split, you'll actually make this.
Maybe if we turn y'all's mics off and just press them on, you want to say something. See if that helps.
I'm not sure where this.
Well,
Still there.
I don't think that did anything.
All right, we'll just we'll echo in here. But because you have 2 properties, 2 residential properties on this one property, and it's considered 2 family, it makes the whole site non-conforming. Theoretically, neither cottage could be improved, repaired, or anything else with this non-conforming nature. The lot split, solves a couple of issues. One is brothers to divide the property have 2 single properties. And then with that, you'll have 2 primary structures that are there. So they would be more compliant with the R1 area. When you look at Dewey Avenue, you'll see that the majority of lots on that strip do not comply with the R1 requirements. In fact, you've got R2 north. It's really odd, while the R2 was not in the south, I really don't know. But lots ranging south of 74 feet, 75 feet, 81 feet, 55 feet in one instance. So there is a large number of lots. In fact, 22 of the 30 lots in this area are less than 100 feet in width. So it is definitely a precedent there for more narrow lots. The image to the right shows the areas. Even the areas are not always consistent with the R1 requirements. In fact, 13 lots are less than 13,500. Both these lots will exceed 13,500, so we're not asking for a variance in the overall lot area of each lot. One lot will be about 13,600, and the other lot will approach, I think, 24,000 square feet in size. So both are compliant area. They're just trying to get a narrow width, which, as I stated, is consistent with the area. Now, if you look back, what's happened along this immediate corridor in the past 10 years, is there have been several splits. Most of these have been either approved by this board or just kind of happened. But in 2013, the property the north split. In 2017, properties to the south of LaFontaine and the former Dewey split to form 285, 86 and 88 foot lot. And then to the To the east of that, there was a 2014 split that created two lots that were 75 feet in width. So there have been a number of splits in this area. In fact, the one up at the top in 2016 actually have two lots, one that is 75 feet and one that is 25 feet. I believe that was playing with existing lots of record and kind of maybe slipped through the cracks, but anyway, that gives you at least precedent of a 25-foot lot on this corridor. I've talked to a number of the property owners within the area, and I know the brothers have as well, and we have not really heard a lot of pushback on this. Like I said, I think basically what they want to do is what others are allowed to do in that strip. In fact, they don't really care a lot about what goes on at the Board of Adjustment or Zoning and Adjustment Board, but it says a hardship, which is what they grant us, can be granted if the situation is basically for this lot is not one that's prevalent in the area. And my argument was this is the largest lot on Dewey in terms of width. So it is not prevalent to have a lot that's 180 feet in width when the majority of lots are either, or less than 95 feet in overall width. So with that, they gave us a variance, and now we're asking for you guys to give us a lot split. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have anything for Donovan? All right, if you need a rebut time frame, we'll bring you back up at the end.
Thank you.
All right, this is not a public hearing, but we do tend to try to hear from the audience if they have anything to say on this one. I noticed it got removed from the agenda, but just keep in mind 3 minutes per person, 30 minutes per item is our goal here. Is anybody here to talk about the Dewey lot split? Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything to discuss? I'm in support of this one. I think it's the right move for this property, and I will say that I've always thought that's one of the cooler properties on Dewey Avenue, just the way it kind of breaks up Dewey a little bit, so.
I got a quick question. This is more out of curiosity than not approval. So parcel B is in an L shape, is that correct? It's not a split right down the middle?
Correct.
What's the reason for that?
It really is the three brothers, they could not divide the property three ways. So one brother is going to own 2/3 of it, and one's going to own 1/3 of it. So, but the L actually makes it, it gives the larger, one brother more of 2/3.
Yeah.
And it'll be probably just for an accessory structure in the rear, something along those lines. That's part of it.
Okay. All right, well, again, we are not in a public hearing, so we are ready to make a motion. I will ask before y'all give me a motion, I don't know if this is a Wade or a Will or both question, but would it be appropriate for our motion to mention the ZAB approval, like, contingent upon the ZAB being accepted, the variance being accepted?
That would be.
Because this is ultimately approved by the board, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just allow our, okay, so if y'all would consider that when you make a motion, just to, if you motion to approve, just put something in there contingent on the variance being accepted. So anybody want to take a stab?
I'll go for it. Make a motion to recommend approval of the lot split of 209 Dewey Avenue, contingent upon the Board of Aldermen approval of the variance coming from the ZAB.
Okay, I have a motion by Kevin. Second by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I would assume that to be on the next agenda, correct, next week?
That would be the plan.
All right, we're done and go. Next week will be the board approval for the final, okay. All right, item 4B will be a public hearing. This is a public hearing to approve a short-term rental at 1712 Carpenter Avenue, parcel ID number 612-20023. Paul and Katrina Porter, the property is zoned R1. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? Motion Matthews. Second Marshall, all in favor? Aye. We are in a public hearing, planning department.
I don't think there's really anything much to say. That's pretty straightforward. You have anything that you want to add? Okay. Just that it's within the overall city area. It's not in any one of the density zones.
Okay.
And that's really, I think, everything we have to add to it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions before we go to the applicant in public? Is the applicant here and did they want to speak?
I'm actually one of those short-term rental managers.
Do you want to speak to it, or you can wait and see if anybody else speaks and you can rebut if you need to?
Okay, I was just gonna say, I'm just here if I need anything.
Well, let's call for public and we'll give you a chance to come at the end if you need to. Okay, so public hearing for the short-term rental on Carpenter Avenue. Is anybody in the audience here to speak about short-term rental on Carpenter? Typically, we'd say anybody in favor, anybody in opposition. Anybody at all? Carpenter Avenue. Once, twice sold. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
We'll go motion Marshall, second Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are out of public hearing. I'm sure everybody's reviewed this. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts? I did see the parking and the number is consistent everywhere, which is one of our normal things. Anybody else have anything? Okay, do I have a motion on the item?
Make a motion to recommend approval of short-term rental located at 1712 Carpenter Court, PID 612-200-23.000 with an annual renewal in compliance with the City of Ocean Springs SDR ordinance.
Second.
Motion Marshall, second by Kevin for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, and as a reminder, this will have to be re-advertised, so it won't be next week on the board. It'll get final approval on the first one in February, first Tuesday night, same place, 6 o'clock. Okay? All right, items C and item D have been removed and or deferred, so we are going to jump on down to item 4E. If y'all give me a minute to find my place here. This is a public hearing to approve a preliminary plat for a major commercial subdivision plat at 3419 Bienville Boulevard, parcel ID number 690-127-491-050. The property is zoned CH Regional Commercial. Do I have a motion to go to public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Motion Matthews, second Marshall. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in a public hearing. Mr. Wade?
Yeah, this will be just brief. Can you pull up the subdivision plan on this one? Should have said something about that earlier. This is, I don't think there's any secret about this one. This is for the proposed Chick-fil-A and Chipotle restaurant properties. As you can see from the sketch plan in your report, your book, there's be a 30-foot private drive going down the middle of the property to create basically 4 lots. I recall the 2 on the front would be for the restaurants, and the 2 in the rear would be for future development of some sort. This is a preliminary plat for a commercial subdivision. This, provided it is approved by the board, this will enable the developers to go ahead and start construction of the infrastructure on the property. Any buildings would then have to be come in at a later date through our design review and building permit process. It just does set the stage for actually starting the infrastructure for the property. I'll be glad to answer questions if you have something for me. Thank you.
This is the one that we just had the sketch plat. I think it was a December meeting, wasn't it? It was December.
Previous meeting.
Was it November? Yeah. Wade, I just want to, before we go to public, I did note city engineer, fire marshal, public works, police, and building all said no comment. So I just want to confirm that there were no issues. I see Daryl shaking his head, yes. So no issues on just the general plan review that we don't get
General
into.
plan review.
Okay. Any other questions for Wade before we go live? All right, is the applicant here and did they want to speak? Defer, okay. Is anybody in the audience here to speak about the preliminary plat for the subdivision at 3419 Bienville Boulevard? Anybody in favor and opposition to major subdivision, okay?
Motion to close public hearing?
Motion by Kevin, second by?
Second.
Second by Joe, you got a lot of those tonight. Motion Kevin, second Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, we are out of the public hearing. Any additional comments? Doesn't look like anything changed from the sketch plat on what I saw. Yeah, I do have one question, just it's kind of like Kevin, more of a curiosity thing, but the common area to the west of Lot 1, is there any actual plan or for that? Or detention, okay, that makes sense, perfect. All right, any other questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to recommend approval of the preliminary plat of the commercial subdivision PID number 601-27491.050.
All right, motion by Kevin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Matthew, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, we are out of public, I'm sorry, out of public hearing. We've been out of public hearing, we're recommending approval, that'll skip next board meeting as well, correct?
That's correct. They will have to have a public hearing by the board.
By the board.
Oh, yes, it'll be the
So you'll be up for,
February.
you'll be up for final approval on February, do we know that date? I should have already asked this, sorry. That will be February 4th, will be the final approval by the board, okay? All right, that is it for new business. We do have a period of public comment. If anybody would like to speak, again, 3 minutes, 30 minutes max. If you have any non-agenda items, now would be a time to bring them up. Anybody? All right, we'll close general public comment, and move on to commissioner forum. Any commissioners have anything they want to bring up, anything to discuss?
Yeah, I'd like to move we go into a closed session to discuss a couple items.
To determine the need for executive session.
Motion to go to closed session to determine need for executive session? Is that-
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Marshall to go to closed session, second by Matthew, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We'll be right back. Go come in here, Kevin's office. Not that bad.
I'll get it.
All right, guys, we have did we make a motion to end closed session with no need for executive session? Motion to, no executive session required on any item here.
Make a motion to come out of closed session.
I make a motion to-
Yeah.
Determine that there was no executive session items.
All
Right.
right, so Marshall, are you making a motion to?
Come out of it. Closed session, there was no basis for an executive session.
Okay, motion by Marshall, second by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, we are out of closed session, no executive session, no items discussed. Anybody else have any commissioner forum items?
I just want to mention one thing. So, last planning commission, I asked Carter for all of the short-term rentals that have been approved. She did send me that list. And I tried comparing that to Airbnb and Vrbo.
But that list was only the commercial. That did not do residential, if you look at it.
Yeah, anyways, what I was getting at, I was trying to find if there was some way to collaborate what's being advertised versus what is actually approved. The problem is when you go to Vrbo and Airbnb, unless you hit book, it doesn't give you the address of the property. And so, I don't know if anybody has a better way of doing that, but, you know, aside from a lot of Google Maps, you know, expertise, you know, I don't know if there's a good way for us to verify what properties on Airbnb and Vrbo are not.
One thing that we discussed the other day, and it's probably, Wade, you may have been here actually, didn't y'all reach out to Airbnb and get some kind of assistance with that before, or? I know it was kind of discussed that was a potential item or something, but.
That's the one that was off of Winchester.
Yeah, I have to go back, I know, I recall, Amanda Moser, may have done that, so.
Okay. I might text her tomorrow just to ask if she had any success doing that, because that was one thing that came up probably before you were even here. I don't remember if you were here or not, but that there may be a way that the Airbnb can give it to the city. I mean, they can't give it to just Kevin, Colin, or whatever, but if you have an official, so that might be something to look back into.
We'll have to discuss that and see if there's a way to, again, get with them, get that information, or just to glean from the various advertisings for VRBO and.
I mean, if you want me to, I don't mind reaching out to Amanda. I have to deal with her on some stuff anyway,
I
so.
do too, but yeah, actually, yeah, if you don't mind, yeah.
Okay, sure, I'll try to find something on that. That was, you know. Anybody else? The only thing I would reiterate, just for anybody wanting to write emails, if y'all can just please send those to the planning department, and they'll help distribute it out. Earlier is better. It gives, if we can get y'all's emails in the packet, which would take, how long does that need to come in before the meeting?
Just about a week.
About a week? Okay. So as soon as the agendas are getting set, if y'all can get those in pretty quick, then it's in our packet, and we can all get them at the same time, all have the same, I like to say, all sing from the same hymnal. You got a question on that?
So the agenda doesn't come out until 3 days before the meeting, so how would we send?
Even if you get it in as soon as the agenda, at least it would be here ready for us, and we're all getting the same information. That's the big thing. I think there were 2 or 3 of us on some, 3, you know, and it's just not the appropriate way to get those out.
And The email address for that
It's
is,
just planner or planning.
OS Planner.
OS Planning or planner at oceansprings-ms.gov.
And when you say or, you mean both of them work?
Yeah, that's me
Okay,
and Elizabeth's.
Okay.
Yes.
perfect.
And I'm happy to write that down too.
All right, anything else? If not, motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Motion Marshall, second Matthew, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, we are adjourned. Thank y'all. Does anybody want this copy of the emails? Everybody get one? I didn't mean to steal Matthew's jacket here. I just grabbed my first one and come in 20.